What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Ever Adaptive Podcast. I'm your host, Becky Flowers, along with my co-host here, Sarah Budson.
What's up, guys? Good
We
job. You
nailed that
remembered the
one.
intro.
I was kind of sweating there. Like, fuck, am I gonna get this done?
Hardest part's over.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I remembered what we're talking about before we started. So
Guys,
now,
like 30 seconds ago, Becky was like, what were we talking about again
and I sent her the damn idea like 2 days ago. So
today? It's Friday that we're recording this. Who knows when it'll fucking release, but here we are.
it is Friday
Um,
before Christmas. So I feel like
Friday
that
before
even just
Christmas. Literally every single day this week, I feel like has felt like Friday. So I'm glad that it's actually finally here.
I am so thankful you said that. I was ready to walk out of work yesterday being like, it's Friday, good to go. And it was Thursday. Hmm.
Yeah. That's basically, yeah, this whole week has just felt like a giant Friday. And I feel like it's probably going to feel like that all next week too until Christmas. So,
Yep. Yep. Well, then you have that like weird time between Christmas and New Year's.
I'll never know what day it is.
No, no, I'll be
We're
at
just
work, but
surviving and thriving.
yeah, we're surviving. I don't know about thriving, but we will get there. We will get there.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Yeah, I'm working on it. All
All
right.
right.
So sorry, cut you off. Today we kind of wanted to talk about community and how we are both very stubborn, independent individuals. And I had someone tell me this week, they kind of pointed that out at me and they're like, you think that you can handle everything on your own. And you
Guilty.
can't. No, we can't. We need help. But I think there's some nuances that we can dive into there and just why we do need community, but also why it can be good to be independent at times too.
Yeah. And when you and I kind of originally threw around this idea, we were kind of voice memoing back and forth. Um, because going from a very long-term relationship to being on my own for a couple of years, I became very self-reliant and hyper independent, right? And I think that that definitely started before I was out of my last relationship because, and this is an interesting kind of thing that I wanted to bring up too, is like maybe the reason why we become hyper independent, and I know it surely is for me, is because I was so tired of being disappointed by people not showing up. And when you are in that time of maybe need and your people don't show up for you, your people don't show up for you, you're I mean, we kind of talked about this in a different sense before, but like kind of backed against a wall. And it's like, well, what do you do but move forward, right? And so you figure it out, and then you're thrown into this hyper independence where you have to figure it out. And it's like, if you're not showing up for me when you're supposed to be there for me, you're making me realize that I can do this shit on my own and I'll figure it out. And guess what? I don't need you. And I think that that can be, I know that that can be a very powerful time. And I think that that period of time can be very useful too. I think it is very important that certain people, probably everyone goes through a time where you have to rely on yourself and you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, but I also, this is something that I said to you in our voice memo exchange. I also think that that time needs to be limited. And it's not necessarily putting a time limit on it, but the more you fall into that bucket of this hyper independence and self reliance and this like lone wolf mentality, it can be very limiting
Mhm.
because us as people, instinctually, we need people, we need other human beings.
Yeah, we
And
were designed to be a community.
right. And it's hard to get out of that when you've been let down or stabbed in the back or whatever the case. And it's hard to trust and it's hard to have faith in people and rely on people when you have been let down. And, going into my current relationship with Darren, it's like he has in a very, I don't know how, in a very strategic structural way has made it very clear to me, obviously not just with his words, but followed up with his actions that I can rely on him and like those walls can be torn down. And it's not a I know you can't do it, so I know you need me. It's I want to help you because I know you can do it, but I want to. And
Yeah.
having that support and that like reassurance is so different, and it allows those walls to slowly come down over time and to be able to believe and trust in other people. And then that hyper independence doesn't necessarily go away, but you then know that you can rely on other people and count on other people to show up. And it takes a lot of like practice to get out of that, like I'm either like you're not doing it right or I know you won't show up, so I'm just going to take care of it myself.
Yeah, you have to get to a point where you're willing, and it doesn't mean that you lay your whole heart on the line. And this is friendships and relationships, because I have a difficult time even with like friendships. Um, you don't have to let everybody know
100%.
your stuff. Like, I don't need to tell you my life story, but you can start opening up yourself to like little things and giving little things to people that you might want to form a community with. Um, I also think you had said something in our voice message that was so key. And that hyper independent stage is so good and it teaches you so much about yourself and what you're capable of. Like you might learn how to change your oil in that time. But it has to be limited, and it has to be limited because it's going to harden you if you let it go for too long. And then this whole process of getting out and getting back to a community is going to be so much harder because you have to soften yourself and then reach yourself out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be like a slippery slope with that. Like there are a lot of people that I have known or have encountered that are like, in that like lone wolf mentality, like,
mhm.
and I, like I said, at times it can be a strength, but it can be a weakness too, and it can limit you, and it's like you don't know your potential when you do have the support and the help of other people too.
Yeah, yes. Well, that was the big thing that I noticed with me is I kind of cut myself off and became very lone wolf, but I didn't have any checks and balances for myself. So it was just me in my head. And if you have a good community around you that you have handpicked and you know will hold you accountable, you have those checks and balances. So I think lone wolf mentality, I think it's bullshit, honestly. Um, I think as we get older, we need to have that in order to grow in our life and to develop as a human.
I agree. And I think that, it's a defense tactic,
Yes, very much.
just by, like I said, either people not showing up or whatever the case, but not allowing yourself to be so hardened and emotionally numb in that way, but still keep your heart open and your mind open to the possibility of having help, having people around you, having other people to bounce ideas off or give feedback on certain situations or whatever the case. Like you said, it can be these hand selected people, and it doesn't have to be a lot of people, you know.
No.
And like I keep very much keep to myself, and like my handful of people, like those are the ones that know what's going on. And I don't, it's quality, I
Hmm.
don't want everyone in my business. It's there's a handful of people that I know that I can count on and I know that I can rely on. And that's what I keep to.
I
Those are
think that's
also
the
the
key.
people's those are also the people's opinions that I value the most too. You know,
Because you've
it's like,
handpicked them. You know that
right,
it's a quality opinion.
right.
No, I think that's key because with community, I think sometimes I don't know what you think of when you think of community, but I think of like a town. So you think of all these people around you. You really don't need a whole bunch of people around you. It really is quality over quantity.
Right. And this kind of directly correlates to like your front row, right? We've
Oh,
we
I forgot about that one.
that was a great episode.
That was a good
But like,
episode.
yeah, I mean, it's those are who's in your front row? Who are the ones that are there and have showed you that, not just like said that they're there. And then like when it comes down to the nitty gritty, like they don't show up. Don't just take people's word for it. Like who's actually fucking showing up for you?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think I was thinking about this, and I think a couple of things to do if like you're wanting to get back into community, but you've been in this lone wolf mentality for so long, is just, I mean, we're gym people. So like smiling at somebody at the gym or making a little bit of small talk, taking off your headphones. I'm so guilty where I will walk around with, I'm sure, just the ugliest face on with my headphones on, and I will talk to no one. So it's just those little things like putting yourself out there in ways that are uncomfortable, but they're gonna grow you and it's gonna help soften you. Even if it's not someone that you really want to hang out with, it's just gonna soften you and it's putting in those reps.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Putting in those reps. Cause like, man, like I like today is almost a prime example of kind of this, right? Like I was telling you, like I generally work from home for the most
Mhm.
part, and I like went into the office for like a longer portion of the
Like the
day than
whole
I
day.
normally do. Yeah. And like just like walking around and like seeing other people that I don't normally see on a daily basis and like just like, hey, how's it going? And like little things like that. It's like where I love being at home in my little bubble, but like once in a great while, it is nice to just kind of have that like that social interaction that's not like completely draining you, right? Like you do it in your own doses at your own pace. But like that will, but like you said, it's those reps of just like saying hi to someone or, a
Mhm.
smile or whatever the case and opening up those doors to to allow other people into like your world. Because like I'm so good at just like isolating
Yes.
and
Yeah,
and like I know that I can be happy there, but like I also know that I am a better human when I am backed and supported by my people.
I agree. I agree. I keep going back to like those checks and balances of just even what really brought it to my attention was when it wasn't that we weren't talking, but it just we weren't like we didn't do our podcast voice messages back and forth. And it had been months because we both had shit going on. And
Hmm.
I've realized, like, even with my fitness, my accountability has not been there. And so now I'm trying to back myself into it, like, because I had isolated myself so much from all my people that I know would check me that it was just me. And my head said, fuck it. So it's just good to have community around you that is going to check you.
Yeah, and keep you on, like you said, we were it was on Thanksgiving when I texted you and said, Happy Thanksgiving. And you said something in return, like, I'm so grateful to have you, someone like you in my life that keeps me on like the straight and narrow. And that's
Yeah.
something that like really like got to me because it was like, it's something that like also I was just like so grateful to hear that like I can be that, right? But it's true. It's like, those people, like even if it is just checking in with each other, like that does still keep you on a path, and
Hmm.
it keeps you from doing that spiral into that isolation.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. I think having, even if it's just like a couple people, it doesn't even have to be your partner that does it. If you have some good friends that I'm thinking like fitness related, but if you have some good friends that are in that mindset too, they can help you. You don't need your whole world to be surrounding that.
No, and I mean, it doesn't even have to be in the same realm either, just like
Mhm.
good people with good head on their shoulders that, you align with in some way in some of your values that like that just it's energy, right? It's energy transfer. It's being on that same path. It's holding space for each other to just make sure that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah,
And the people that care for you and that show up, they will show up and they will, check you when you need to be checked.
yeah. And they'll tell you to be easy on yourself if you need to. Like
Yep.
you need to hear that too. So,
Yep.
yeah. We got anything else? This is a short one.
It was a short one, but I think there was a lot of like good good tidbits in there.
Hopefully some good nuggets. I think it's just a lot of, I don't know if I want to say this, maybe I'll get in trouble, but a lot of us in bodybuilding seem to go into lone wolf. So I think it's important to just remind yourself that, like, oh, my people are important.
100%. And this can go, right? Because it isn't necessarily a team sport. It is not a team sport.
No.
You are the one eating the food. You are the one doing your cardio. You are the one getting your sleep, doing your recovery, doing your training. You are the one doing all of that actively. You can't rely on anyone else to do that. But it is not just a one person sport. You do need a good community of someone giving you the tools, people at home, the emotional support of things, the hair, the makeup, the tan, the who's making your freaking suit, right? Like your
Yeah.
pose, there's so much that goes into it to be well-rounded. Not saying that it's not possible to do on your own, because it is, but how much better are you going to be?
Yes. How much better are you going to be? And then how much more fun are you going to have if you have people to share it with?
Mhm.
That's,
Yeah,
I,
don't close yourself out and completely isolate yourself and detriment all of your relationships and then you have a mess to clean up
you
after
have a
your
mess
show
to
is
clean
done.
up with a paper card. Congratulations. It's not going to be worth it.
Or without a card.
Or without a card, you could even have no medal and you got a mess. So,
Yeah, so I mean it's like if you're doing like what is it for? What is that all for at that point?
hmm yeah,
And like I said, it's like how much better can you be if you do have those other people, that team, that community that is helping support you and showing up for you to watch you and celebrate with you.
yep, I agree. I agree.
So
So,
like while it is an individual sport, like I mean, how many times do you see people who, post about their show and it's like it also takes a village because it does.
mhm, it does. And it's so good to remember that the people at home are important too, like your coach, obviously. Suit, tan, makeup, like all of those things, show promoters, everyone, but then also your friends and family that are there backing you and dealing with all of that, they're important too. And
Yep.
I definitely forgot about that. So I feel like I need to just ram that home one more time. So community is important.
It takes a village.
Mm-hmm. It does, even with life, even if you're just lifing.
Yep. 100%.
But all right, guys. Well, hopefully you got something out of it. Um, we shared this in the last episode, but we would really love if you want to share this with a friend, like, comment, whatever you want to do. Let us
On your
know.
story.
Put on your story, tag us. All of our Instagram information is in the caption or whatever it's called on YouTube. And and let us know what you want to hear about.
Yes.
All right.
This
Well,
will release definitely after Christmas, but I hope everyone had a great
I know I
Christmas.
think this is our second episode saying Merry Christmas, but we really like Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right, bye guys.